Hello and welcome to Car Dealer Live. You join me in the Citroen section of the new Robinson & Day West London site, and I'm now joined by Eurig Druce, I'm trying to say that correctly, the new Managing Director of Citroen UK. So you started the job in January this year. What a baptism of fire that has been.
Yeah, I've always thought of myself as quite a lucky individual really throughout my career and in life in general, and of course then I take over a privileged position, I think, of leading Citroen in the UK at the start of this year, and then enter an international crisis that, first of all, of course, is a health crisis, but also a potential to have a major economic crisis as well. So, yeah, challenging time to take over, but I think a good time as well, in terms of the fact that it gives the opportunity for us to look at the detail, but also to work very closely with our partners to make sure that we all get through that crisis and flourish coming out of it.
So what's your background before you came into this role?
It's an interesting background, I think. So my passion as a teenager was electronics, and that's what I trained in, was as an electronic engineer. Spent a short period working over in the Republic of Ireland in a factory manufacturing computer motherboards. But I'd also worked in a Fiat dealership as a general hand, so driving customer vehicles, delivering parts, etc. And that had lit a little bit of a fire for the industry. And I can't say that I was enjoying the role in manufacturing, and decided therefore that I wanted to leave and pursue something back in the motor industry. So then started as a trainee with what was then Peugeot Motor Company, part of the Group ESA. And worked as a customer advisor up the road from here in was Warwick Wright Edgware. Back then, Robinson Day, Edgware now. And that's probably where I learned the most. It's the toughest job in the industry. Even now, I've done a various number of roles over the years, but I think as a customer advisor, that is a real testing role, and of course, a very impactful role as well. So I still have lots and lots of admiration for those that do that role. But from there, I've worked in numerous roles with Group PSA, mostly working with the network and in retail, field roles across the UK, and then became Parts and Service Operations Director for the group in 2016, before moving to Citroen and obviously taking this role at the start of this year. So quite a journey along the way, but I think seen lots of different levels in the business, and I've learned a lot along the way. So I understand what makes the business tick along the way, and I also understand the challenges that people face, and I think that's an important point to take into consideration when you're doing a role like this one today.
Going back, did you ever think that even that path would take you on the opportunity to be the Managing Director of Citroen in the UK?
I would sound quite arrogant if I said yes, almost, wouldn't I? But did I have the ambition to? Yes, absolutely. I remember part of the training induction that we had for the group was we were asked to say, where would we like to be at 40? And I've got to say, back then, it felt a generation, 2 generations away in terms of age, but I wanted to be a senior decision maker. That's what I said at the time, and that's what I've ended up achieving. Now, I've done that with a lot of help, with a lot of luck along the way, a lot of hard work as well. But I think I've been a lucky individual in life, so I'm thankful for all the support and help I've had along the way as well.
That's a brilliant story. It's completely potted and mad. I love it. Yeah. Definitely given you every single bit of skill that you would need for that role, I'd imagine.
It's been great because I think what I've faced over the years is a number of different challenges, and I think the crucial thing for me doing the role today is to understand that everybody comes out the job with their own daily challenges. And it's really important that we don't perceive a strategy, a plan for the business on the basis of a head office environment, and we need to see it from the customer side first and foremost, but secondly from what our retailers see and the challenges that they see on a day-to-day basis.
So what are the exciting things that's going on at Citroen at the moment for your dealers?
How long have you got? So now, I would say that as well, I suppose, but the first and foremost, I'll start with the fact that what we introduced in Citroen back in February was a new ethos. And that ethos we call Team Citroen. Now, the whole concept, I love sport, I love rugby, and from a rugby background point of view, you don't win, and you don't win in the scrum with one individual. You win as a team. And we've had our challenges in terms of the NFDA survey for Citroen, So I wanted to create an ethos where we had a team spirit, that we all knew each other's challenges, but that we were working together to try and make sure to get over those challenges and to make progress together. So that's quite exciting, and we're already seeing something I'm really, really thankful for the network for, which is an improvement in terms of the score in the summer survey. Now, there's lots more that we need to do, and not for 1 minute will I sit and think, job done. We've got a whole road ahead of us of improvements that we need to make, and things that we need to drive forward together, and challenges that we need to take, that some are ours and some are external to us as a company. Exciting in terms of product as well. So I've got a lucky position again, 11 new products in the next 16 months. We've just launched the new C3, a facelift, and the C3 has been a huge success for us ever since we launched the car, and that's something that we've been going on a journey as a brand. Is when we replace a car, the replacement vehicle is a step up in terms of performance. With the last C3, we sold about 5,000 vehicles in its final year, and we're selling 12 to 14,000 depending on the market conditions of the new car. So a huge step up. Then came C3 Aircross, our small SUV, and a similar position there where the equivalent vehicle that we would have had was a C3 Picasso, and that sold 3,000 to 4,000 vehicles regularly in the final few years, and that's up to 8,000 to 9,000 vehicles now. So again, a big step up in performance. Excitement doesn't stop there. We just launched last week the C5 Aircross plug-in hybrid. I had the pleasure of meeting one of our first orders yesterday. The retail customer ordered the car back in February. So I went to complete the handover with the customer, and it's great to hear our messages in terms of what he likes about the car. So his exact words were, we were looking for an SUV, we were looking for an electrified SUV, and then when my wife sat in the car, the comfort of the Citroen C5 Aircross got us across the line. And that's exactly the brand strategy, of course. We're about comfort, we're about delivering advanced level of comforts, and so it's fantastic to hear. Then we go on from there. So we've got 6 electric or electrified vehicles that we've announced this year, including, of course, the Ami, not for sale at the moment in the UK, but is currently on sale in France. And our strategy in terms of electric vehicles is to have electric for all. And what do we mean with electric for all? Well, we mean for all budgets. So the Ami from 6,000 all the way to the top of our range currently with a plug-in hybrid C5 Aircross. We mean all kinds of usage, so city usage in terms of long distance travel, and we mean private and retail customers. So absolutely everybody, we want to have a Citroen that we can offer them on that journey. And of course, at the back end of this year, we've just revealed the fantastic new C4 and the eC4, so available in diesel, petrol, and full electric from the start of next year here in the UK, and already seeing some great press coverage on that vehicle, which is good.
Are you seeing quite a big appetite for these new electric cars from your customers?
I think it's growing.
Right.
So there's definitely increased levels of interest, and I think there's a level of fear in the transition that we need to assist the customers with. So, and crucially, that we offer a product that fits everybody's requirements. Not everybody wants a car that can travel 400 miles autonomy. Most people want 200 miles autonomy, and that's where the new eC4 will be, 214 miles on the WLTP cycle. But then equally, the Ami offers something very different. Shorter autonomy, a short charge-up time, but obviously straight into a plug as well. No need for any charging points or any infrastructure over and above normal levels. So there's growing levels of interest, and I think we're seeing that grow month on month, year on year now.
It's quite a big change for your dealers, though. So have they welcomed this kind of big turnaround in product? And because you almost went through a kind of regeneration when we had the cactus and the image changed a lot.
Yeah.
So are they welcoming to these new changes, new models?
I think the great thing about our network is the agility, and the market that we're in today, you have to be agile and to react to where the customers are and what they want from us as a manufacturer. And the dealers are with us 100% on that one. If you look at the brand, we go 100 years back in history now for Citroen, 101 years this year, but always been even from André Citroen himself, the unconventional. We don't want to be mainstream and the same as everybody else in the marketplace. And so it's great, we relaunched that journey with a new Cactus, and all of our cars since have definitely a Citroen personality. And our electric vehicles equally will have the Citroen personality.
So let's talk a little bit about lockdown. How was that, like sales-wise for Citroen?
Lockdown period was challenging, wasn't it, for all of us? So we ended up, as most people are thinking, in March, trying to get as many of our customer vehicles delivered as we could in a safe manner. And then we took a very pragmatic approach, is that health and safety came first. And so we ceased, and like everybody, we closed our showrooms, and then accelerated our progress in terms of digital. So I would say back in February, March, we were very much at the back of the grid in terms of digital tools for Citroen. And I would say now that we've accelerated really, really hard in this period to being amongst some of the leaders. So now we have a virtual showroom, we have live chat on our website, we have the ability to see what is in stock, we have the ability to reserve and, crucially, buy a vehicle end-to-end online. So that's been a huge step forward. Of course, that's come, and the demand for that kind of level of service has increased as well. But we're always there for our customers the way that they want us to be. And so we have a digital presence, but we also have fantastic showrooms like this one here around the country, and all of them prepared to be safe in the COVID environment.
Did you have a lot of people buy completely online from you since kind of March?
So we didn't have the facility for a complete online purchase of a new car online. A number of the dealers had a used car purchase facility, and they were really successful in doing that. And there was definitely a shift to people buying some vehicles online and not coming to the showroom. In general, it's a proportion of the customers, of course, and still a large majority still prefer the interaction and seeing a vehicle. We've got to remember, buying a car is the second probably largest purchase for most people that they will do after maybe a house. So it's not something that they can do very quickly online. Some people prefer it, and we need to make sure that we have the facilities for the customers to have the way to interact with us the way they want to. But it's for sure a growing level. How quickly, how fast that transition happens to digital, I'm not sure. All we've got to make sure is as Citroen that we're ready and that we're well positioned to ensure that we deliver whatever the customer wants.
And we're just coming to the end of the first month of the 70 plate. How has that been for Citroen? Did you see a massive jump in demand for new cars?
So as we came out of lockdown, there was certainly an increased level of demand, in particularly on used vehicles. Right. So we've got our lowest level of used vehicle stocks that we've had for a number of years.
Wow.
And it's a good position for us to be in, of course, because it's part and parcel of ensuring our residual values start to improve. New car demand has been strong, but as Citroen, we're in the process of trying to reposition the business. And if I take the year-to-date position for Citroen last year, 16.3% of our sales were to NDR companies, to daily rental companies.
Right.
And that's not something that I want to pursue for the future. I want Citroen to be a brand that participates in all channels to the market, but that we have a sustainable platform to build from, a solid foundation to build from. And so to keep the level of sales that we make to rental companies to a level that is in line with the market and not venture above. So, of course, as a result, this year we've seen a decline in our market share, but I see that very much as a position to start building forward from with new products and as we go through into 2021 again.
So is retail really your focus to push?
No, yes and no. So retail, absolutely crucial, and we've seen our share of the retail market in terms of what we sell grow this year. But we're a multi-channel brand. You cannot live off retail alone. So we're a massive strength for Citroen is in B2B through our network. We've got an opportunity in fleet to grow, particularly with new models like C4. But we want to be present in all channels. We just don't want to be overrepresented in channels which are could be damaging for residual values going forward. And so we're trying to make sure that foundation is in place, that we build solid business for the future.
Excellent. And so when it comes to used cars, how has that been to bring you to this kind of lowest level of stock?
So used cars, it's been a massive demand from the network, really. I think we were all coming out of the crisis in a little bit of a unknown, uncharted territory. Long hours of worrying, long hours of trying to predict and see where we might be in terms of a demand curve. And I think most people, if they were honest, would say they've been relatively surprised at just the level of buoyancy that we've seen. But used car demand and new car demand has been at an unprecedented level as we come out of the crisis, not just for Citroen, but across the marketplace. And you see our sales of used cars going well above cap, which is great for me because a big part of our plan is to reinforce our residual values so that we build a better platform going forward. Take the new C4 as an example. We've just had the residual values back for the new C4. It's over 10% better than the outgoing Cactus. Now, it's not a direct comparison of a vehicle, but it is a revolution in terms of residual values that we've received, and then we're now at the top end of the segment rather than being at the bottom end of the segment. That's the strategy, that's where we want to be going forward.
Yeah, because I don't think I would be offending you by saying that traditionally your residuals weren't brilliant and there was quite a lot of pre-reg, but have you kind of levelled that out?
I think I would agree with you that residual values weren't at a high level. Pre-reg, there's been some level of pre-reg. It's not where we want to be going forward. It's not just pre-reg, of course, it's also the rental channels. But it's also short-term contract hire business. So that kind of business we've taken off the shelf. I use analogies internally that if you're an alcoholic, you don't leave the alcohol on the shelf. So now we have internal rules that say we don't. And it's completely banned in terms of our organisation. Short-term rental we don't do. Short-term contract hires we don't do, and within the national rental position, then we have a maximum 10% of any car, any van, or overall mix of our business. And by working to those rules, what we're creating is a sustainable future. We're now seeing the residual value start to grow as a result, I think.
And talking about sustainability, we've obviously gone through this period of people wanting loads of cars, but also factories being shut. So how is your supply level going to be for the rest of the year for dealers in the UK?
So supply of new cars in general is tighter than any of us would like, I suppose, but we've taken the decision as Group PSA to make our supply linked to customer demand. So not to build large volumes of vehicles for stocks, but where we have a demand for a product, then we react and have the flexibility. So I have the luxury as a leader of Citroen in the UK to have great flexibility from our factories to know that if we have the demand, they can react quickly. And what we have to make a transition away from is large stocks of vehicles in the UK into selling vehicles for future months and selling production slots going forward. So it's something we're working closely with the dealers to do and achieve now. And as an example, if I look at our van proposition, then we've got a van portfolio which is probably 20 to 30% above where we would have been a year ago.
Wow, that's impressive. And so finally, what would you say to your dealers? What do they need to be excited about to keep them kind of inspired and motivated for the rest of the year?
Well, I'm going to be talking to the dealers at the end of October to launch a plan that I've been working on for the whole period since I've started in the role, but in particular during the COVID crisis. We call it the Citroen Advance UK plan. That's really our 3-year business strategy, and we'd welcome to talk to you in more detail about that later in October. But it's all of the principles that I've gathered together and what we want to achieve as Citroen in the UK going forward. So there's lots of excitement in there. I'm really energized from it all, and I can't wait to share that with everybody. But it will, I think, give us the springboard that we need to deliver the growth that we're looking for as we go into the next 3 years.
I feel like I cheated you because I told you that was going to be the final question, but it's your first interview with car dealers, so I feel like we can't not ask you about what impact Brexit could have on Citroen in the UK.
Yeah, so it's topical, of course it is, and in terms of our planning, we're working on a number of different scenarios. That's, as a business, all we can do is to prepare, be agile, be ready. What we really need as a group and as a manufacturer is a frictionless trading arrangement with the EU, a tariff-free arrangement with the EU, Of course, the government know and understand that, but in the meantime, we're agile, we're working on what we can control and trying to make sure we're ready for whatever the outcome will be.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for talking to us today.
Thank you for the opportunity.
It's been lovely too. Thank you for watching as well. If you'd like to see more videos from us, you can head to the live section of our website or find us on YouTube and subscribe. We've got hundreds literally of videos now for you to watch. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your day.